You were dancing too? I was literally doing the same thing. I was sitting over there like going like, okay. I do it every single week, man. Every week I do it. Well, we're back, guys. Welcome back to Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Jason and Zach. Hey, Jason, I have something. I want you to hear this, and I want you to tell me what it is. Okay?
Okay, I'm listening.
Oh,
Ooh. Oh,
right, you have
you
to
got it.
guess.
Is that a LaCroix?
Is that your guess?
No. Is it a bubbly?
It is. Well, not that kind of bubbly.
Okay, it's not bubbly brand bubbly.
No, it's not.
Show me what it is.
It's Pellegrino in a can today. Look at this.
You know, I was gonna say the can San Pellegrino.
Yeah,
I was gonna. I don't know why I didn't say it, but that was gonna be my first one.
I thought, let's mix it up a little bit. I feel like a giant, like it looks like a Red Bull can.
You know what's funny? I got the tall can too. It's Tall Can Thursday.
Really? Cheers. Tall Can Thursday.
Boop.
Okay, I like that. It's so funny because it's become a thing, and we didn't even mean it to be a thing. It just happened.
Yes,
so it's cracking me up. So
we both like to hydrate with fancy water. It's cool.
looks like I messed up my camera's focus. There it goes.
I think when you cheers, it went out of focus. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Welcome back, guys. We are excited that you guys have returned to continue the conversation from last week. Not the same topic, but we're still talking about last week we talked about imposter syndrome. Today we're going to dive into questions, the art of asking questions, whether you're a podcaster, whether you're a business owner, doing a employee interview, whatever it looks like. Questions and the art of that, asking those questions, being in an interview is a tricky thing. There's a bit of a learning curve, and so Jason and I have experience with both. When we had our podcast before, Lunch Break Marketing podcast, it's still out there. You can still listen to the shows if you would like to. And Jason and I are in the process of starting a different podcast. We will have more details for that pretty soon. So we're really excited.
We finalized the logo today. Yeah, we finalized the logo right before the show.
Locked it in. We want you guys to join the Winject community. If you text 843-396-2104, you will get access, or you will get on a list of being notified for these shows that we're doing live every single week. Podcasts that are coming out, the schedule for some of those podcasts, when they're going to be dropping. And you can also join at winject.com if you go over there. And if you guys would just give us some feedback on the website. Jason and I are the masterminds behind that. So we love to hear what you guys think. And we have stuff for not just podcasters. I know that's the misconception. We work with a lot of podcasters and all that sort of stuff, but we also work with if you're not a podcast creator, you also can enjoy the shows, get some behind the scene access to things, get exclusive offers that you would not get anywhere else. So it's a very minimal fee to that. So we would love for you guys to join this community. It's growing and growing daily. Also, if you guys have questions about things we're talking about today, want to give a shout out, want to say what your favorite sparkling water is, leave it in the comments. We would love to.
Beverage of choice.
Mine is Pellegrino, his is LaCroix. Listen, I actually like any of them except for which one? You know which one it is?
Topo
Jason?
Chico?
No, I like Topo Chico. I don't like Perrier.
Oh yeah.
It's not as good. So let's get into what we're talking about today. If you guys have questions or have comments, we would love to hear from you. If you just want to say a simple hello, we would like that as well. So let's get into it. The art of questioning, questions, not questioning, because that's a different thing. We don't want to question everything.
I guess you could phrase it that way. So you're not wrong. I think you could phrase it that way.
art of questioning. Okay.
Yeah, like
Okay.
questioning, not like questioning authority. This episode's all going to be about sticking it to the man,
sticking it right to him. You know what I mean? Like taking this tall can and going for it.
Yeah.
So let's kind of get into that, Jason.
Yeah. So I think when we were thinking about this, because obviously the other partners like Russ and Chris and the others who discuss this topic throughout the week, they have their own viewpoints, and so I was like, well, what can we bring to the table that's different? And I think for us, like Zach mentioned in the intro, we had our podcast for a while previously, and then we went to go build our business, and now that we're in building mode and we're growing, we're going to launch our new podcast soon. And so we're kind of getting back into the podcast, and we work with a lot of podcasters here in the community. So when I'm thinking about back on that time, because we'll talk about things, specific to podcasters, and then we'll talk about, stuff in the business. But, when, you're running your show and you're doing interviews and things like that, and you're talking to people, I think one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I can give is that it's really important to develop a rapport, which I think sounds like a no-brainer.
I agree.
You think it sounds like a no-brainer, or you think it's a good point?
Both. I think both is a no-brainer and a good point.
Okay, gotcha. So I think it's important to develop a rapport, and I think that one of the things that served us well when we finally kind of got into our groove, because there were some growing pains when we first started. Like we didn't know what the heck we were doing. We just wanted to talk about marketing and design trends, and so we're like, let's just make a show. And
we did it the most difficult possible way by recording in noisy restaurants. Brilliant idea, right? Great.
No, but that was our differentiator, though.
It was,
because that's not.
How many episodes did we record that never got released? That we had to go back. I think there was several.
A lot.
We came back and listened to the audio, and we're like, "This audio is so bad. No one's going to be able to hear." My ADD is going crazy right now because all I hear is clinking plates and.
Well, I think one of the things that anybody should do if they go back and listen to that show is see if you can find the episodes, because there's a couple where we had to record it not in a restaurant to keep up with our production schedule, and we found a couple of different layers of like background audio that Zach looped. So I think that should be a game. Is like find the episode where we're not actually at a restaurant. because those are pretty good too. I think it's not quite as noisy.
One of them, you were at a conference and you did it inside of a closet.
I was in Seattle. Yeah, I was in Seattle. I was in the hotel. I was in the closet. Oops, my earbud. I was in the closet. The door was shut. I was hunkered down. I had the laptop sitting on, because it was audio only. I had the laptop sitting on the. What is that? Those
safes. It's a safe.
Safes.
Right?
Yeah. Can't think of the word. Yeah, there's a safe in the closet that they like build into the walls. I had the computer, the laptop sitting on that, tilted down towards me. I had my whole microphone set up with me, and then I had a sheet from the bed draped over the top of me to create like a sound booth. And I got to say, that was probably some of my best audio that I've ever recorded. It was so perfect, and it was a great show.
Yeah. You know what? And my wife was talking about this with me this morning. Actually, we were talking about our new podcast. So I'm not releasing the name yet. And she was like, "I really liked what you guys did with Lunch Break. It was just so good." So go back and listen to those. I think it was several of those episodes actually recorded in my car. Because it was the
we did it at night. We both had babies, like littles, and so we couldn't record in the house that late at night because talking is loud, and we didn't have like a studio or anything or like dedicated office space really. So I definitely remember recording several in my car with like laptop up here and like studio mic here and like trying to make sure I had enough power for everything. Yeah. It was.
I turned this way so you could talk into the microphone, and it was so hot. Like it would be in the summer, Even in the evening, no sun. The car just was hot. Now we're 10 minutes in and we haven't even got to one thing yet.
Well, I think that, but I mean, whatever. But I think that was a really fun thing. Like, I would love to see. I think that's something that we should do in the community here is like have people take a picture of their space, who are podcast creators. I would love to see that, people taking a photo of their podcast space, like, because sometimes you actually have a studio, and then other times you are sitting in a hotel room with your computer on a safe. Hiding underneath a blanket with all of your equipment sitting in your lap.
That makes me laugh because it reminds me of somebody recently that we actually interviewed on the Lunch Break podcast that she posted. She was on USA Today last week, USA Today, and she laughed because she created this fake background behind her, and it looked like she's sitting in this really nice swanky place, and then she had somebody take a picture of her actually doing the shot, and there's like clothes all over the floor, and like she's like, I'm doing this in front of my bedroom and it looks awful. It's kind of like discovering how the sausage is made, and she's like, it's not as glamorous as you think, but I was on USA Today and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Well, what's funny is the New Yorker several months ago, this is like deep in COVID, the New Yorker had a really funny it's either, I can't remember, it was an article I saw or if it was just like one of their cartoons, but it was like a diagram of somebody's work from home situation, and it was like the typical like suit on top and like, like you're good from here to here, and then it was just like stacks of pizza boxes and like old takeout and just like literally garbage everywhere except what was in frame,
I will admit that I have done, like, I've worked out before I needed to get on a call for a client, and I'm like in a hurry, and so then I will leave my gym shorts on and change my shirt and like try to make my hair not look so crazy, do the call, and then go get dressed or whatever I have to do. So I have been guilty.
Well, I'm in gym shorts 24/7, so good on you for actually making the effort. Anyway,
I got my khakis on. But
okay.
But this
rapport. We were talking about rapport.
But what we're doing it right now, like this is the kind of thing that can end up happening with when you are, especially now that most people are doing their interviews on camera, like doing them through Zoom or some streaming service, whatever you're using, and I think you're right. I think getting on there and just chatting for a bit. We did that this morning. We had a client call. And that's the first thing we did. Like, we just got on, shot the breeze for a little while. And I tell you, it has made the relationship that we have and the connection, the working relationship we have with that client specifically, that I feel like has made a massive difference. We are more relaxed and laid back when we are talking to them. And that's another thing I was going to say is being conversational. Oh, there's Marianne. Hey, Marianne, how are you doing? I like listening to
She likes listening to our stories. Yeah.
Well,
maybe that's what our new show is all about. It's just stories.
It's just stories. We're just telling. No, but I think that's one thing I think that me and Jason we like about what we're doing here and what we'll carry on over into our own podcast is just make it conversational. And that's exactly what the point I'm going to make is when you make it conversational, it's easier to listen to. When you're reading from a script, and we've been guilty of that, I'm not going to lie. We have read from scripts and we have done shows where we're like point 1, point 2, point 3, and then it feels robotic. And when you're in interviews and when you are in an interview with a podcast, if for your podcast or YouTube channel, or in an interview with a potential employee, making it conversational, feeling relaxed, makes a massive, massive difference in the way that everything goes. And like I was saying, with the connection we have with this particular client that we talked about this morning, it has made a massive difference. And honestly, I think that because we've used that strategy from the get-go, they wanted to work with us more. And I think that has been, we had a potential client meeting yesterday that I got on, and that we will be signing on as well. And it's all about just being calm and cool and She said, I remember she said to me, she said, I'm going to grill you. I'm going to ask a bunch of hard questions. And I said, bring it, let's go. And we just laughed about it, So like bringing a little bit of humor to it when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Being conversational.
Well, I think humor is a great common ground though. I think for a lot of people, it's when used in small amounts. I think it's a great way to find common ground. And I think we talked about this before when we were discussing topics for the show, but don't use too much humor, right? Like don't make light of everything. I know I have an issue, and I tend to make light out of too much and don't go super serious enough. And that can kind of bite you in the butt. So use humor as necessary, because it is a great icebreaker for one, especially if you're going into an interview, or you're wherever you're asking questions. Whenever you're going into that kind of situation where questions are going to be, the framework of what you're doing, humor is a great way to start and make everybody at ease. So like, I think one of the best formats that we had when we were doing the show, because we did a lot of work in post, was to start the Zoom call, and then we would just start talking. And we would talk about, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. What do you think about these topics? What do you have to say about these topics? And then once you flow into there, you talk about how they're doing. Like, hey, is there anything that you don't want to talk about? And you just like talk to them. Like seriously, just have a conversation with them for like 15 minutes. Because we did a lot of shows with people that we either were just meeting or were recommended to us. And so we didn't like have like lasting conversations with some of these people, or lasting relationships with some of these people. And for us, it was great to just get on and start recording, and just be like, hey, we're going to go ahead and start recording. So once we're done, just, chit chatting here, we'll just go, okay, now we're recording now. Yeah. And so you just kind of can flow, because, and I make that distinction because if you're already recording and all you have to do is be like, okay, we're recording now, or just put up a piece of paper, whatever you're going to do, you don't have to stop. You don't have to break that flow to go, okay, let me cue up the recording. Okay, can everybody hear everybody? And then you're not going to break the flow, because you don't want to build this momentum and this rapport and then just bottom out, flatline while you're getting set up, even if it's for 30 seconds, and then roll back into it. You just want to flow directly into the conversation at hand. So I think that's one of the great things that you can do here with StreamYard, which is what we use for this show, is because you can just get on, talk to whoever you're going to talk to, and then flow directly in, right?
Yeah.
So rapport,
Carolyn,
it's huge.
Chris had a comment. What is the best question you've ever heard on a podcast, do you think? Oh, gosh. Wow.
The best question you've ever heard on a podcast. I would say this is not on a podcast. It was on a radio show, like actual like radios. I think it was Sirius. I don't remember the answer, and I don't remember who it was talking, but they just asked something off the wall. It was like, what's your favorite paint color in your house? Or when you go on vacation, what's your favorite kind of food to eat? It was just like totally random, had no basis on anything, but it started the conversation. It caught the interviewee off guard, and it started the conversation into immediate rapport development, because the person that was fun. Like the person was expecting, talking about like their upcoming show, and they just started talking about something that had nothing to do with anything. And it was just an interesting show because it was an insight into that person's life, which I think is really huge. And why a lot of people get into podcasting is, especially interview-based podcasting, is because people are looking for some type of insight. And so I think a question that catches somebody off guard in a good way humanizes them as well.
Well, that's one of the things we do with interviews. And the last question we always ask What's your favorite superhero and why? And it's
Oh,
always
like a
funny.
job interview. Yeah, like when we're interviewing somebody. Yeah.
But I mean, you could even do that in a regular podcast. I mean, who cares? So I think that that's one of the ones, and it's so funny to watch people. We actually had one person. We asked that question, and she said she started to say it, and then she was like, "Hold on, can you hold on for just a second?" And she like left the room. Do you remember this? She left the room, and she comes back with like some like. She wasn't wearing a costume, but she was like holding up something. And we're like,
no, it was I think she was wearing like a Captain America hoodie or something like that. I think it was like Captain America hoodie, and then like
she had like a shield.
There was another one. No, that was another one who had a Captain America shield on their wall or something like that in the background, and they were like, "Yeah, obviously I love this" or something like that. But yeah, no, it's a fun way, because we always use that to end. To kind of put the person at ease, because sometimes interviews can be a little nerve-wracking. But we always like that because it's a nice way to kind of end the conversation, because it lets the person go, and then
it's kind of relaxed and like, oh, you're done. Well, I mean, you could also discuss Rhode Island. It's neither a road nor an island. How do you respond to that? Like
talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad you got that.
I guess
I didn't think you were going to get that reference, but I'm glad you got the reference.
Yeah, I think another big one is to do research, and that's obviously another no-brainer, kind of like building rapport. But for me, when we've interviewed people, because when we had our old show, we were really going after thought leaders in the marketing space. I would say like medium tier thought leaders and up and comers. And, we had some big interviews that actually never even aired. But on a lot of those, my goal was to impress because we were brand new in it. We were really trying to make a splash, and my goal was to impress. Like, oh, this person's like, not to impress like with my skills, but to impress that like I actually looked them up, actually like know something about them. And I think we did
I think it's one thing that I was gonna say. Let me add on. I think it's one thing that Chris does, and he does a really good job of that. I've heard him pull out stuff about people in his interviews. When I watch some of his, he'll pull out some random stuff and they're like, oh yeah, and they have a discussion about that. Continue.
There's we did an interview with I think he was an ex senior VP or something like that at Salesforce. His name is Daniel DeBow. He's done a bunch of startup things in the past. But one of the best things that I could hang my hat on is before we interviewed him, I looked him up. I looked up his history. I looked up his LinkedIn and read about like companies he had helped to start and found. And I just went in and just did a really deep dive into the background. And it wasn't just to like tee up every single question with, hey, I saw that 14 years ago you worked for 6 to 7 months at some company. Tell me about it. It's not for anything ridiculous like that. I think it was more.
That your top 40? Is that your top 40 voice?
Casey Kasem.
And we're back.
No, but it was all with the ultimate goal of making sure that I could speak intelligently about his background, and so I could find like some common ground, because I think after I was looking at it, I was like, I've actually seen this software and I've used it at some point. So like I could actually talk to him about that, and we used that to develop rapport. So,
was he doing the one that we talked about him playing bass guitar for a while. Was that him?
Yeah. That was your connection point. Yeah, he played bass in like a band for a while. Now he still plays bass. I see him post videos every once in a while.
I was dabbling in playing in bass. I can play a little bit, but not.
Well, what's to your right? What do you have hanging on your walls? I
do have my guitars over there, but there's no bass guitars on the wall.
Yeah,
but I have my guitars over there.
What's the difference? A guitar is a guitar, right?
Oh, Oh, we maybe that can be another show. There's going to be some people that are going to comment and be like, that Jason guy, he has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah. And, my whole thing for laugh. Talking about. No, my. That's a horse. But the whole thing with doing research. Let's get back to the point. Stop talking about my laugh. But doing research. So I was watching this clip the other day of when it was like when comedians attack, and it was comedians being asked stupid questions, and it was just like a ton of Kevin Hart and Bill Burr. Which Bill Burr can be pretty direct. Yeah. He can be very direct.
I was going to say a little bit. No, he's 100% direct.
Yeah, but this one guy asked like a stupid question because he was like, "Hey, well, tell me what you thought about being this actor on the show." He goes, "That's not me. That was some other actor." He goes, "That's not even. I was never on that show. I don't know what you're talking about." And the guy's like trying to backpedal, and I'm like, "Okay, that's like a huge like. That's not even him." And Bill Burr, he goes, "What kind of interviewer are you? You didn't do any research. You didn't even look me up before you start asking me questions." And so I think it's almost like a point of like doing your due diligence to make sure, you go into the situation, having done your homework. So, but I say all of that to say, I think the best kind of, combination is when you do like a medium level of preparedness. Don't over prepare, because it can tend to kind of tip over into like the scripted where it's just kind of like flat.
I was about to say that. We've done that. There have been times where we've gotten done with an interview and we're like, God, that was awful. That's it. Or we can't go back and say, hey, can we redo that again? I know you're super busy. But Bill Burr is Chris's favorite.
I can see that, Chris. But yeah, so I mean, to that point, one of our most anticipated shows that we recorded never even aired. It never aired, and we prepared for that thing so much. For one, it took me, I don't know, 3 months, 5 months to get it scheduled. To land it. Yeah. Because it went back and forth. I'm not going to talk about the company or the person, but it was huge. Like it was a really huge interview. And we went out to the facility.
We took off work and everything.
Yeah. This is when we were still 9 to 5 in. And, we took a day. We took an entire day just to go do it. And I think that we got there. We had all of our questions pre-screened, right? And so we had to pre-screen all the questions so they knew exactly what we were going to be talking about. And the interview, long story short.
Too. I think that was the request too. I think they want, because they didn't. I don't think he wanted anything.
No, he wasn't going to talk about. He wasn't going to talk about stuff that he didn't already think about.
Yeah, and it was even the questions that we asked. Go ahead.
No, I mean the questions that we asked were fine. They were thought provoking. They were good questions. Typical things that you'd ask. Coming into it, establishing his credibility, establishing his authority, establishing the business's credibility and authority, and then just talking about his background and his insight into what we want to talk about concerning marketing. And it just was terrible. And I don't know if it was so much of a combination of over preparing, but I think that we had hyped it up so much because we had prepared. Like in our minds, we thought this was going to be the best one. This is the interview that everyone's going to listen to. And, all of your preparing, all of your interview skills can be totally defeated by a bad interviewee. Right.
I was about to say, I don't think it was our fault of over preparedness or anything like that. I think he was dry. He was very dry, which was ironic for, if you knew the company, it's very ironic because of,
for the chief marketing officer of the company.
of this kind of very particular company. It was one of those things where it was like, wow, I did not expect. Like we got done and it was like, I did not expect that. By the way, we were talking about spaces too. That we've done some of our podcasts. This was
the company literally had a studio in their as part of their office. Part of their office, they had a dedicated studio.
They had their own podcast.
Yeah.
But it had no air conditioning, and there was a giant. Remember the giant bear? There was like a giant bear in the room, like a full-sized bear in the corner, like right behind me. So the good thing it wasn't on video because we were in a tight space, like it was really tight.
Yeah.
And 4 people in one room, it just got really hot really fast.
Yeah. But it's I would say but that's my advice is to make sure you do your homework, obviously. But maybe don't over prepare to the point where it becomes scripted, and also give yourself a pass if you do have a bad interview, because sometimes it's not your fault. You could be the best interviewer in the world, and if you just have somebody who is a stick in the mud and doesn't elaborate on open-ended questions and is very monotone and has no inflection when they speak,
right. Or they're really quiet, so then the audio is so bad.
Yeah. When the person continues to lean away from the microphone,
or they're hitting the table.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say this. So when the person you're interviewing does everything wrong, and ends up making it the worst interview ever, remember it's not your fault. Give yourself a free pass, because interviewing is not easy. It's not easy.
No,
you have to go in, and especially if it's a new person, you have to immediately develop a rapport. You have to find something to hang your hat on with that conversation to go ahead and dig in and get started. So
I always think of I know it's a comedy skit, but Zach Galifianakis when he does the Between Two Ferns.
Oh yeah.
In those are not scripted whatsoever.
No.
But the way he talks about it to sorry, my computer's about to die. I gotta move this cord. But the way he builds a rapport super fast with like people who are, I remember him grilling Barack Obama at one time.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, golly, he is. There's no way I would say that to somebody. He's saying some stuff that are like, no, you can't, no.
Well, you know what's funny is after that interview, the next day Barack Obama called him. He called him, and I think that was towards the end of his presidency too. That he did that interview. Called him a dookie face. No.
Bad joke.
Yeah, no, he calls him. He calls Zach Galifianakis on the phone, and he goes. He thanked him for the interview. He said he had a good time, all that. And then when he ended the conversation, he goes, "Well, I really hope this does a lot for your career." And Zach Galifianakis had to catch himself from saying, "Well, you too," or in fact, I think he might have said, "Well, you too." And he's like, what is doing this interview going to do anything for the president's career? But yeah.
Well, I don't know.
But the thing is, they developed a rapport, even though it was a tongue-in-cheek, humor that was very biting and satirical. He still developed a rapport because it's humor, and
you have to.
And I think for you and I, that's something that's always served us really well. Whether it's a podcast, conversation on a podcast, or an interview with a client, catch-up call with the client, whatever it is, humor is something that has always served us well. And I think that when used well, it can serve you well too.
Yeah, I think if there's, but to Jason's point, you got to be careful because there's a line where once you cross the line of just being overly funny, it becomes obnoxious. It becomes just unprofessional at that
Right.
point.
Right.
So you got to just make it when it's appropriate. I think that's it for
Yeah.
this episode today. Next week we are going to be talking. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say I hope we added to what all the others
Yeah.
were saying this week. Oh, we have a comment here. Marianne says, "Absolutely, your humor is what keeps me looking forward to your show every." Oh, Marianne,
Man,
I'm afraid that.
Blushing.
Carolyn, can you print that out and mail that to me? I just love that comment so much.
Actually, here we go. Let's do this. Let's put it back up and let's like make faces, and she can screenshot that and send it to us. Like,
oh, give me a heart here. Oh, that's a terrible heart. That doesn't even look like a heart. It looks like a bean. What? My fingers aren't
what's
working.
wrong with your hands? Yeah,
I don't know what's happening with me.
You got some bad hands.
How can you do that? Okay, I'll just make a bean. I can't even.
I think it's the anger. You can't just do this. Like, thanks.
Anyway, thank you for the comment,
Thanks,
Marianne. We appreciate that.
Yeah. So next week, before we leave, remember to go and join the Winject community. You can text 843-396-2104. It's that easy. And you can get the updates for when we are going live across the board, not just our show, because Marianne loves our show. But anybody's show, Russ John's show, all of those you can get the updates on when those are going live. And also go to winject.com. We have stuff for podcasters and for people who enjoy podcasts. And you can get exclusive deals as a podcast creator, but also as just a listener. There's a lot of things that are beneficial for both parties, and all that's detailed out on winject.com. Jason and I are the masterminds behind that. And so, go over, check it out, give us some feedback. We'd love to hear your response to how the website looks and how it flows, how we can make it better. What are you wanting to see that's not there that would be beneficial for you? All of that stuff is great information, and you can do all of that by joining the community and give us that feedback through the community. So we would love to have you guys be a part of that. Next week, we are going to talk about committing. What do we say? Committing to your goals. Committing to goals. That's it. Committing to your goals. And I think that is a broad topic enough that can hit a lot of areas. So remember, tune in next week, 2 p.m. Marianne, we'll see you there. We would love to see everyone there, people interacting. Where's Paul today? Paul did not comment at all.
Rude.
He has commented on so many.
He's been with us for like the last 3 or 4 episodes. I'm gonna go search him and find him after this and see what's going on.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable.
Anyways, guys, it's completely unacceptable because he should be here. What is wrong with your ear? There's a little person in your ear that keeps pushing it out. No.
Yeah, it won't stay in. It won't stay in. The earbud, it's like it's got like a life of about 12 minutes, and then it goes.
No, I'm telling you, there's somebody in there, and there's a little person that just keeps pushing. This is my home. All right, guys, we have now derailed. So we appreciate you guys commenting and paying attention to us for this long. So next week,
let's cheers. PM. Let's cheers it out.
Okay, ready. Here we go.
3, 2, 1. Boop.
Cast is brought to you by Winject Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.